But that doesn't change how much we love this guy, no matter what music we use for his walk-up music. It is Bryan Bulaga on Wilde Tausch. Bryan, if you have any royalty-free favorite songs, let us know. We can send you some options.
Yeah, I'm going to need a list. I'm going to need a list that I can choose from. And,
That's good. Jesse, get on it.
Yeah, I'm going to need a list.
Anything for you, Mr. Bulaga?
I mean, I don't know my options, and I don't want to play that, tag game with Jesse. Hey, how about this one? Not good. So, just a list would be good. And choose.
We will get that to you. Hey, before we get into Packers Bears, I saw a question in our YouTube comments that caught my eye, and the question was about the Lambeau Field mystique, because obviously it's from Dr. Denver Dan in the ESPN Madison YouTube, and I wanted to ask you, Bryan, because you were back for the Vikings game as a honorary captain along with Corey Lindsley, our other good buddy. But you obviously played more recently than Tausch did. Dan's question is the Lambeau mystique still a major advantage? It feels like ever since Sauce wore a cheesehead that no one seems intimidated anymore. And I thought that was a good place to start with Packers Bears this week. And obviously this game being at Lambeau, they lost. They didn't have much to play for, but they did lose to the Bears in the finale last year. Do you hear Matt LaFleur asking people not to sell their tickets to Vikings fans? I'm sure he'll say the same thing today about Bears fans. Do you think that the home field advantage has taken a hit in recent years, or do you think that that's not an accurate narrative?
I don't know if it's maybe as strong as I would say. I guess it was maybe when I was there in 19, because I felt like in 19 it was very strong, right? Like I felt like in 19 you felt like you would go out in Lambeau and you would win every game. Like it felt like the crowd was majority green and yellow. You didn't see too much away team colors. I do remember that first game against Minnesota. I think it was early on we played them. I did remember seeing a little bit of purple in the crowd, which was kind of different for me in 2019, but I didn't think much of it. It wasn't really noisy or anything like that. But for the rest of the games, it was green and yellow for most of the entire game, right? So I don't know how much it's changed since then, but I do, that game against Minnesota that I went to, there were a lot of Vikings fans. Like I remember walking through the parking lot before the game. I'm like, there's a ton of Vikings fans here. And it just was very odd to me. Like I never remember it being that way. But on the flip side for this one, I think Packers fans despise the Chicago Bears that much that I don't see that narrative being too much the case this week. I don't think like tickets will be sold. I think Packers fans want to be at this one. And this one means, I think, so much more to Packers fans than beating Minnesota. I just do, right? Like I just think that this rivalry, and now that this game actually means something, it like being at this one means more to people, and that's why I think this home field is gonna. I think that shifts back to Green Bay now, right? Like I think that mystique of being in Lambeau you'll get that feel again, because like that loss last year against Chicago, I remember sitting on the couch watching that, and I'm watching that game I'm like this is slop. Like that's what that game looked like. It was just absolute slop, and I'm like this is a joke of a game. I felt like the players didn't care, right? Like that's what it looked like. It looked like they didn't care, and Chicago. They cared. They wanted to play. They wanted to do it. And Green Bay looked like they kind of wanted to get out of that thing with no injuries. And obviously Christian Watson gets hurt in that game. If I recall, if I'm remembering the correct game, I believe, right? Is that the game he got hurt in? Because he got hurt in that game, if I remember correctly.
He played because somebody else couldn't, and he wasn't even probably supposed to. And
correct.
Yes.
Romeo Doubs was sick.
Yes, exactly. So like that game was just it was a disaster from the get-go, and Chicago holds that game near and dear, and so do the fans. So I think Green Bay fans hold a little grudge from that last year. So like I still think Lambeau holds a home field advantage personally, right? And what it to me the minute this team wins the division again, I think that home field mystique, you bring it back, right? Because winning brings that pride back of like home field advantage, right? When you haven't brought back a or division title like NFC North and kind of controlling that division, it kind of floats away a little bit, right? When you lose games at home against Detroit, like they did when they missed the playoffs when Aaron was there that last
22.
time, and
yep.
when you lose those games, fans they feel a certain way, right? Like it's like they get a sense of like what's the deal here. But when you start to win the division again, like that brings back that pride that like, hey, we're part of this thing, right? So like you win this game and you go on to win the division, I think you get that sense of home field advantage again, and the fans feel that. So to me, it's like it's on the players to get this thing done and bring that pride back to the fans. And like it's not like the Green Bay Packer fans don't have pride; they love their team. Let's not get that twisted by any stretch.
They do love their team, but I did notice something else that, again, I had to admit at the start of the show that I didn't see Younghoe Koo's aborted field goal attempt on Monday. I hadn't realized this either. I'm sorry?
No, that was weird. Go ahead.
11:15.
Yeah, it's true.
Shut up, Jesse.
Kept it.
So I also had not noticed this because I would like to think I'm observant, but I saw Aaron Nagler from Cheesehead TV make an impassioned plea this week for players to go back to doing Lambeau leaps that apparently that there have not been. And again, I'm like taking notes on the play, so I don't really look at the celebration when I'm at home games. Guy. Would you stop with the under your breath remarks? Aborted mission.
Subliminal Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
Subliminal Wednesday.
Okay. I didn't realize that guys had stopped doing Lambeau leaps, but apparently there's a epidemic of non-Lambeau leap celebrations going on after touchdowns. Maybe
Really?
that would help with the home field.
Is that accurate?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a fan, and as I have already established today, I'm not especially observant, but I believe that's true. Now that I stopped to think about it, I'm trying to think of how many times I've seen guys go into the stands this season at home games, and it's a pretty low number. I think Aaron Nagler is right.
Yeah, that's yucky. They can't do that. You got to you can't do that. Yeah, you got to Lambeau leap when you score a touchdown. I don't know what they're doing. Like you can't not do that. Like that's like the most basic thing when you score a touchdown as a Green Bay Packer. Like you Lambeau leap. Like I don't care what the I don't care what the situation is,
Brian.
Yes, it does not. It does not matter what the situation is. You go into the stands and you go into the stands with the guys that are like holding beers and like that's where you go. Like you go
you
find
ketchup on your jersey.
Yeah. You go find the people that are having the best time and you jump into their section. Like that's the whole point. Because if you don't do it, the opposing team is definitely going to go do it. They are definitely going to go jump into the stands when they score and rub it in your face. So you need to take back that tradition. There is absolutely no doubt. If you let that slip,
I didn't realize that was the case. That's Jesse. Go do a little research. See how many Lambeau leaps have been done in the last. Well, first off, Carolina. I don't know. We scored one touchdown. It wasn't great. Philadelphia,
Eagles
we didn't
game,
score.
Panthers game, we didn't score much. Vikings
not
game,
ideal. Minnesota, we scored though, and I don't
took
think
the foot off the gas.
Brian and I were both at the game. We didn't. There were no Lambeau leaps.
No,
and
I don't remember.
There was a lot of purple in the stands that day too. It was probably, I'd say 40% purple in the crowd that day.
Yeah.
So Brian, before we move on to the actual nuts and bolts and get your ideas on Belton, how he played last week, is it because to me home field at Lambeau was all about weather and the fact we were a good football team, and I think the fact that we had never lost a postseason game until Michael Vick came in on a cold, dreary January night and just gutted us. And since then, I don't even think our record at home is 500. If it is, it's barely. in the playoffs. So is it because there is no doubt with the additions to the stadium, place a lot louder than it used to be. Like it is a lot louder. So this is built to have a monster home field advantage. And I think the question marks from Dr. Denver Dan, is that who left that out there?
Correct. Yep.
Is it more weather? Because it does, and I think Holmgren or Ron Wolf said this back in the day, home field advantage is good when you're really good. If you're not, nobody gives a rip. And Seattle's finding that out because it used to be Seattle wouldn't even get games on prime time because they beat the hell out of everybody they played. So they didn't even put them on when they were really in there 2013 to 15 or 16. That's what really matters, right? It's the quality of who you actually have playing, and that builds the home field advantage and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And I always thought the weather was obviously that to me was always the biggest thing. It's the weather and it's the elements. It's all of that, right? It's bringing teams that aren't used to that. Like obviously Chicago's used to it. They play outdoors. They play on grass. Obviously, the grass that they play on is absolute junk. But they play on grass. They play outside, so they're used to it. But it's when you bring in Detroit, you bring in Minnesota, and you bring in teams from the South and the West, and they come and play in these later months. That's to me the biggest advantage. And then you get into the postseason, and then it's cold. I mean, it's very cold. That is the biggest advantage to me. And then obviously if you're a good football team, well, that's the cherry on top of that, right? And obviously you're not in the postseason unless you're a good football team. So good football teams create their home field advantage, right? And the weather and all those things is what it adds on top of that, right? And I always thought in Green Bay, we were so good at adapting to that, and we were just able to play through that. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like the defensive linemen on the other side of the field hated playing in Lambeau when it was cold because we couldn't get our footing. We were slipping all the time on our get-offs. I had no problem taking on bull rushes. I didn't slide back when they ran into me. But for some reason, they were sliding as they were pushing into me. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I was used to the way the field was, and they weren't. It doesn't matter. But it was just the way it was, or their wide receivers were slipping coming out of breaks. Ours weren't. It is the way it is, right? But you create your own advantages, right? And I think the players, it's how you adapt to it. And I think the fans, obviously, and how that place has been renovated and how they've added on the additions, they create that extra environment now, right? And the players, it's up to them to give those fans that incentive to make that
and
little
enjoy
bit.
It a little bit. When you have a touchdown, go celebrate. I didn't realize this. I'm glad Nagler pointed this out. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Hey,
that's fun. It brings a little juice.
I'm going to put it this way, and I know Jesse's probably mad we got to take a break, but when there were interceptions and touchdowns and things like that, we were sitting up in that alumni suite, and how loud it was, because obviously you're right next to fans, and the type of music that they were playing, way different than when I was there. I mean, we're talking hip hop and things like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is unbelievable. This is fantastic. This is great. This is a complete 180 from when we were here. This is stuff that actually gets crowds into it. It gets the players into it. It is a complete, vibe change in this stadium from when we were there. Now I don't know if that's a policy thing or a Mark Murphy thing. I have no idea, but it is a big change of how the stadium environment is on game day because it is way different from when I was there against the Chargers.
And they still hit roll out the barrel. I was sitting
and they do.
I was sitting was near the roll out the barrel, folks. And they hammered that still.
Yep,
Absolutely.
they still do. They still get the roll out the barrel.
Turn the whole game around, roll out the barrel.
Yep,
punt,
they still get that.
That was right when the punt when they muffed the punt. They rolled out the barrel, and we rolled the Vikings out of town. And all those purple folks left about 7 minutes.
They still get the tradition. You could still get your favorite Packer traditions. But get the change of culture in the stadium as well. And to me, that's fantastic.
Is roll out the barrel at the start of the fourth quarter? Or are we going to have to move it if we're going to play Enter Sandman for Micah Parsons? Is it going to have to be
I
I think we
shifted to a
could do
different
roll
spot?
out the barrel earlier. Yeah, we could do
Yeah.
that earlier. Enter Sandman needs to be like Renegade. When the
Right.
defense
Yes.
goes on the field, and it could be with 5 minutes left in the fourth, or it could be with 8 minutes left in the fourth. But
Yes.
I do love adding that in, and I bet Mike you imagine it's dark. It's getting a little dark out on Sunday night. It's a close game. Snow flurries are hitting. You
Yes.
got the John Facenda
Oh.
voice just blaring over, and it enters Sandman royalty. They're paying the royalties.
They
to
do.
have
Yes,
that
yes.
music.
They got to pay the royalty. They got to pay the royalty.
And you get that bump in. And Blue, I've told Jason in this story a bunch, but when Renegade came on in Pittsburgh, and we were in an absolute shootout with them, and I think 2009. It is the coolest deal. And to have that with your defense getting hyped, and they actually are supposed to get loud, you get everybody cranked up, got to do that in the fourth quarter this Sunday. That would be legendary.
I'm finally writing that story for Sunday, and I have been working to get clarification on whether this is something that they plan on doing or not, because it was Jeff Hafley's idea. I'm curious. I was told you do have to pay the royalties, so there are some hoops to jump through. Much like
I think they can afford it. I think they can
they're
afford
doing
it.
okay. I think they've got the money. But I was told that we want to. If it is going to happen, they want it to be a surprise. So we will see if we are surprised on Sunday with Metallica and Enter Sandman. We'll get to more football, directly related football conversation, because I do want to get what Brian thought of Anthony Belton. He did not grade out well, according to Pro Football Focus. We'll see if Bulaga Football Focus saw the same things as they did.